Calgary Flames goaltender Dan Vladar has been linked to the Carolina Hurricanes by multiple NHL insiders, including Pierre, Lebrun, and Frank Seravalli. It certainly looks as though the Hurricanes are extremely interested in both Calgary and Carolina, are analyzing the market to see what he's worth. Plus, could we see a reunion with Sam Bennett? We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. Before we get into all the trade talk, or at least movement talk, we can say, we gotta talk about last night's game, as is a staple here on the channel. And it's not the most fun one to talk about. In case you missed it, the Flames were hosting the Boston Bruins last night, and it didn't finish the way we wanted, as the Flames got the Daryl Sutter point once again. Another out of regulation loss, this time a 4-3 overtime loss to, obviously, the Bruins. David Pastrnak got that OT winner, and this one stung because the Flames did have a 2-goal lead at one point in this game, and it seemed like they were kind of in control of the game for a little bit, but they just weren't able to finish strong, and obviously kind of choked a little bit and took the L in this one. Now, if we take a look at the box score, Dustin Wolf did have the start last night, got the OT loss, gave up 4 goals on 35 shots, which is crazy because we're going to get to it in a second here, but he really didn't see all that much action through the first period, first half of this game, really, but ended up facing 35 as the Bruins really turned it on. A 375 goals against average and an 886 save percentage is not exactly where you want to be for someone who is definitely still in the Calder conversation, but that one stings a little extra. Now, if we get into the men who got on the score sheet, this one's interesting because each goal was scored by a different player, and every goal had 2 assists, and no one repeated points. So we had 9 people get points. The 3 goal scorers were Ryan Lomberg getting his first of the year. Coronado and Kadri both scored early in the second period, and that was honestly, to me, kind of the TSN turning point of this one, was the Flames going up 2-0 early in the second period after a scoreless first, and then the Bruins called a timeout, and that honestly changed absolutely everything, which is too bad. The Flames even had a 3-1 lead going into the third, but it just really, really stinks that they ultimately did end up losing this game after seeming like they were in control. If we get into the men who got the assists, we got some youngsters in Zary and Pelche both getting assists. Huberdeau, Pospisil, Backlund, and Coleman also got some assists on the night. So again, great to see that the Flames really spread the wealth last night, even in a loss. 9 people getting points on 3 goals is, honestly, I don't know why that's so satisfying, but it truly is. No one getting, a multi-point game, but so many people getting on the score sheet. I know it was a loss, but still great to see a little bit of the stats being padded there. Now, the things that I want to take a look at are, first, the shots on goal in this one. The Bruins only had 4 shots on goal in the first period. The Flames really did seem like they were, at least playing a little bit better than the Bruins were, until, like I said, that timeout the Bruins took proved to be very costly for the Flames and was very valuable for the Bruins. That's how you use a timeout, as they really did turn it on from then on, had a very strong third period, absolutely dominated the Flames, which was too bad. The other thing was face-offs, and we know that the Flames are a terrible face-off team, but last night there was a point where, was it like 10-0 for the Bruins in the first period in face-offs? It was ridiculous. The Flames only end up winning 32% of the face-offs on the night. There were exactly 50 in this game, and they only won 16, which is just horrendous. They really need to get that going. That's all another reason for the Flames to acquire an actual good center whose natural position is the center, so that we can hopefully win some face-offs, let alone, score a bunch of goals and win hockey games and Stanley Cups. We care more about the face-offs, of course, but it is a growing concern. Last thing I want to take a look at from last night's game was that the Flames did not have the man advantage once in this one, 0 for 0 on the power play. Hard to win a game when you're not getting any power plays, but the reffing wasn't too involved in this one at all. Now let's move on to Vladar being linked to Carolina, the real cream of the crop of this video, as we've now had a couple of insiders spread Dan Vladar's name around. Now the first one we'll take a look at here, this is an article originally from The Score, but it kind of just encompasses this Vladar situation perfectly. So the Carolina Hurricanes are eyeing a trio of goaltenders to fortify their depth between the pipes. And no, it's not the Flames' trio of Vladar, Wolf, and Cooley, it's just one of them. So Ottawa's Anton Forsberg, Utah's Karel Vejmelka, and Calgary's Dan Vladar are on Carolina's radar, reports The Athletic's Pierre Lebrun. Is he still also TSN's Pierre Lebrun? I'm not too sure. However, none of those teams are in sell mode yet and might not be at all depending on how their seasons go, Lebrun notes. All three goalies are pending UFA. So it makes sense for the Hurricanes to be after some of these guys as they could be, number one goaltenders in this league. Vejmelka's weird because his record's really good, but he doesn't have the best stats on Utah, just even in terms of goaltenders, which is interesting. And who knows if Utah will make a push for the playoffs or not. Same thing kind of going on in Ottawa. Linus Ullmark is playing fantastic as of late. Anton Forsberg, a very solid backup, but could, again, be a starter in this league. So makes sense there. And then Dan Vladar, we know about him well. Kind of starting to take a backseat to Dustin Wolf a little bit more, and definitely his trade value is there. So if we get into that a little bit more, Vladar has struggled with an .885 save percentage in 16 games while sharing the Flames crease with Dustin Wolf. And as we know, Vladar's last start didn't go too well. That was the 8 goals against Tampa before his injury. The Canes also reportedly spoke to the Ducks about Gibson and are after missing out on Mackenzie Blackwood, who was dealt to the Avs on December 9th, so not long ago. So it seems like the Canes are definitely scoping out the goalie market, which should give us a good idea of what Vladar might be worth, which we'll get into in just a little bit here. So Kochetkov has struggled with an .895 save percentage in 18 games as Carolina's number one goalie this season. Veteran netminder Freddie Anderson hasn't played since October and was given an 8-week timeline after undergoing knee surgery in late November. So the Hurricanes could get a little bit desperate in terms of goaltending, and Dan Vladar, if he's on their radar, the Flames are offered a pretty good deal here. Why not pull the trigger and send Vladdy out to North Carolina? I mean, I don't see a problem with that at all. Anderson cannot stay healthy at all. Kochetkov really hasn't played all that great. He hasn't been bad good enough. The Hurricanes are still a very good team, definitely going to make the playoffs, but it's just interesting there. To get a different perspective on it, I believe this was from Daily Faceoff, maybe the Hockey News, I can't remember which, but aside from his most recent outing, Vladar has been solid for the Flames, putting together a respectable 6-6-4 record, given his contract status paired with Cooley being signed through 2025-26. Vladar's name has been mentioned in trade rumors, and according to Daily Faceoff's Frank Seravalli, the Hurricanes may be interested. So there you go. Another insider spoke on this situation, and this is what he said. I do believe the Hurricanes called the Calgary Flames, Seravalli said on the Flames Nation Barnburner podcast. Oh my gosh, that's my competition. Just kidding. I love Flames Nation. Love what they do over there. To finish this off, the Vladar stuff. So Vladar has value on the trade market, given that he'd be one of the cheaper goalies available with a cap hit of just 2.2 mil. His career numbers of a 3.02 goals against average paired with an .892 save percentage, however, would limit the Flames as to what they may be able to get in return. We know Vladar is healthy now after undergoing off-season hip surgery. We know he's, at full health, and the more we play him, it's a risk, right? There's the chance that his value goes up. He gets great numbers. He gets wins. He gets shutouts. His save percentage goes up. Goals against average goes up. But there's also the risk that there's games like the one against Tampa where it was not his fault. The defense was absolutely abysmal, but he's the one who suffers the most on the stat sheet and in the trade market value. But it is good to know that at least Seravalli thinks the Hurricanes have called, so they have an idea of who they might want and what the market for a goalie like Vladar could be. A move involving Vladar is nowhere near imminent, but he will be a name popping up on trade bait lists as we inch closer to the March 5th deadline. So obviously, keep a close eye on Vladar and Carolina. Now, if we get into the last part here, could we see a Sam Bennett reunion? And this one's interesting because it's actually been brought up in the comment section of this channel multiple times now, actually, and Eric Francis wrote about it a couple days ago now, but maybe he's a fan of the channel and has been reading the comments, because I know a few of you guys have said this, but could a reunion between the Flames and Sam Bennett make sense? And at first glance, a lot of people would say, are you kidding me? Sam Bennett would never want to come to Calgary again. Look what happened the first time. He got absolutely buried in the lineup. He was a healthy scratch. He probably hates Calgary like how James Neal hates Calgary. And why would Bennett want to go back to a place where it was just bad vibes? As soon as he left, everything became great for him. His career totally took a 180 and he won a Stanley Cup, so why would he come back here? Well, as a matter of fact, when I did talk to him early about what was the change, so obviously this is Francis talking to Bennett, he said, well, I got to come here and play with Huberdeau, and then I got moved into the middle, said Paul Maurice. Sorry, that was Maurice, not Eric Francis. But either way, Maurice talking to Bennett, kind of saying, oh, I've played with Huberdeau before. When I came to Florida originally, I played with Huberdeau and it kind of changed everything. Sometimes it's just finding the right guy to get you your confidence back. It's not a coach, not a city. It's another player. So very interesting to note that Bennett really, that 180 occurred because he was put with Huberdeau. We know Huberdeau's not going anywhere from Calgary. Maybe Bennett could come here and good things would happen. The Flames have been actively searching for an impact center since they lost Elias Lindholm last winter. Where am I? I'm getting lost on my own thing. Here we are. They've also been looking desperately for someone to help Huberdeau regain his Florida form. So not only would Bennett's game hopefully continue to be really good with Huberdeau, but trying to reignite Huberdeau to get him back to how he was with the Panthers. Aside from Bennett being in his late 20s, few players fit the profile they're looking for better than old Benny, who is in line for a massive payday as a pending free agent. And the Flames have the funds to do so. They will have so much cap space this summer. It's definitely an option. I know a lot of you guys would love to see that. I think most Flames fans would love to have Bennett back. It's just more so, would Bennett want to come back here? Ideal scenario, he comes back, reignites Huberdeau, and we win the cup next year. But of course, that is wishful thinking. Now let's wrap this one up with the comment of the day, as we love to do here on the channel. Of course, comes from yesterday's video, and I like this comment here from Todd. So this was obviously about the Braden Pahal signing or contract extension. And Todd said, "This is good. Been pretty solid all year. Him being here allows a bit more time for Bustevich and Perek to develop if need be. Also gives us flexibility depending on what happens with Andersson." All completely true. Covered that in yesterday's video. And this was a great anecdote here as well. In that case, we can move Weegar to his natural right side and bring up Solovyov, Kuzi, or Grushnikov. And that obviously is Kuznetsov, not Kuzmenko. But there are so many options, and it feels so good as a Flames fan to know that we actually have so many good options in the defensive core. There's so many different ways we can go about this, and there's so many good guys in the pipeline. Having Pahal here gives those guys as much time as they need to develop. Honestly, love this signing for a deeper meaning than just Pahal actually being in the lineup, which is good enough already. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.